Now let's build our tab component. If you check on the Ionic documentation and you go down to components, Ion tabs, here they have some quick snippets on how to use it. Currently, I couldn't make it work the way the documentation is because it seems a little bit outdated. For example, the path, it's URL now, but we're going to talk about that throughout the lesson. So let's get started, and back on our component, we're going to use Ion tabs. And inside here, we're going to have two main components. One is for the tab content, and another is going to be the tab bar, which is going to hold the buttons. So let's start with the tab bar. And for each button, you need to create an Ion tab button, which will take a label and an icon. Start with the home. This will give the home button and the label. So here at the tab bar, you can specify a slot if you want it to be at the top of your app or at the end. So let's leave it on the bottom. And for each tab, you need to tell it which tab you want to open. So we're going for tabs home. Let's create a tab, the content for it, with Ion tab. And here also tabs home. Inside, you need to put a router outlet that will tell the Ion router what component to display inside. So now let's create the routes. If you go to the app.tsx, we first need to point our router to the tabs component that will display the other buttons. So Ion route, here we use URL, and put home, and then a component that will load, which is the tabs root. And now inside the route, we're going to add all the routes for those components that we're displaying over here. So Ion route. So here, because we have a URL pointing to home, we want to display in the home path, we want to display this tabs home. So now let's load the server and see how it's looking like. In my project, I'm just going to do npm start. So now if I navigate to home, I have my component in here. But currently there is nothing showing you inside. On the documentation, there is a problem with the Ion route, the way they display. This one is supposed to be URL for now. And the way they are adding these components also doesn't seem to match like this. So to display the content, the way I found that works is if you put another router inside, and here you just call the component. Tabs home. So you have your main tab component here, the route, and inside you display this for each component. So I'm gonna save it, and now if we load, we have our tabs home over here. Let's add one more and see how it would work with more buttons. So I'm gonna create a new component. I'm using the Stencil tools. So I'm gonna call it tabs user, or you can do tabs dashboard. Now let's create one more route for that. It's gonna copy this one. And here I want to go on user. And I need to change also here. Now in the tabs, let's create a new button. Now for the dashboard. And the icon, I'm using the user head. Now we also need to add the content for that. Dashboard. So let's look at our page. So as you can see, our icon is not working, and I think it's because I made a mistake. I'm gonna go to the Ionic's website, and I'm gonna user. It's a person. So here's not a user, it's a person. Now we have our icon in there, and you can swap it. And we also have our tab. Let's just add a link over here for the home page. So now in the app menu, we can just add one more in here. Just gonna change the URL. Tabs. Now if you reload, we have our tabs in there. It comes in here. About page. And home. Now we need to fix this nav bar over here so that we have a nav bar on every component that we can toggle. So let's do that in the next lesson.